Good evening, everybody. This is your host, Huge Pop, from the Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. Tonight, we have a special guest. He has held the Southland Championship Wrestling Tag Team titles, the Crash Tested Wrestling Tri-States title. He's the longest reigning Adrenaline Ringside Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. He's showed up on AEW Dark Matches. Welcome to the show, the WWN Multimedia Champion. He is Mr. 3%, Doctor of Gains, Swarminator. He is the headliner, Jonathon Hudson. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. You really did your homework.
I did.
I felt like we should have just had a red carpet come down as he was.
I will tell you this. I use my time for the wrestling podcast to get away from reality. My wife and I, we do foster care. We run the emergency shelter here in Florida, caring for 8 kids. So when I can get away from the monotony of that and do my homework or whatever, that's what I'm going to do, because that just gets me away from reality. And I appreciate you taking the time to come on here, and Trevin for giving me the opportunity to be part of WWN and FIP.
I appreciate you having me on, guys. I really thank you very much.
Thank you. So, I start the show out, every show out, as we're growing up as fans, right? That's why we love the business,
Still a fan to this day.
Can we talk about your fan as a kid and where it's progressed to today?
Yeah, for sure. It all started, I'll never forget it. It started, I was 9 years old, and right before bedtime, I was just, scrolling through the channels, like when cable was still a thing. And I was going up, and then I just went down on the changer, and WCW Nitro was on. And I vividly remember this, even at such a young age. Like, I was loving what I was seeing in the ring, but I've been a jock my whole life. I've played sports forever. The pop from the crowd, that roar, it clicked with me, and I'm like, I really like this. Like, this is what I want to do. I knew that right at that moment. This is what I want to do. And I went to my dad and I told him, Daddy, I want to be a professional wrestler. And I'll never forget it. Instead of being like, good job, son, he asked me if I finished my homework, which I did not at the time. But no, I knew at the age of 9 I wanted to be a pro wrestler, and I was a fan of both the top companies, WCW and WWF or E, whichever one you want to call it at the time. But I was so young, I had no idea there was this whole worldwide network of professional wrestling. Yeah. And, as time went on, I got into, the Japanese style, lucha libre, even in the most random places in the world, like Iraq and Iran, they have their own style of wrestling there too. Wow. It all intrigued me, but I've been a fan since I was 9. I've wanted to be one since I was 9, and the dream just kind of never left me.
Awesome. What were some of your favorite wrestlers back then?
Oh, well, back then, I was your typical mark. When it came to Nitro, like, I loved the NWO. I loved Goldberg, but with Goldberg later on in life, I have my own personal experience with him, and he's not my favorite anymore. But like, his intensity is what got me. When it came to the WWF or E, whichever you want to call it, that's the show I really gravitated towards too, because with Nitro, I would watch these amazing matches with guys like Chris Jericho and Juventud and Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, and I'd watch these amazing matches with them, and they got nothing. And then all they cared about was just that last 5 to 7 minutes of showtime to make sure they get the rating, and that was it. And then when I started really watching WWF, I noticed that from the moment the show, and back then it was Monday nights at 9 o'clock they went to 11, sometimes 11:05.
Yeah, 11:05.
Yeah. And from the start of the show to the end of the show, there was a storyline you were invested from guys from Val Venus all the way to Stone Cold Steve Austin. And there was a story for everything, and no matter what time of show, beginning, middle, end, when X-Pac and Kane came out, when they used to be a tag team,
Yep.
we're like, okay, I know what's gonna happen here. All the way to when The Rock and Stone Cold would wrestle each other. Like, you were just invested in the whole show, and that's when I was just totally WWE all the way.
So
go ahead, Rico.
I don't know if I'm going to take your question, man, but I got to ask. So, being a fan of WCW, did you watch Sting's retirement match?
Of course, loved it. I thought, in my honest opinion, I think other than if he would have kept it his retirement match, Ric Flair against Shawn Michaels, I think that you couldn't have asked for a better send off.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a bunch of cool things. He put his body on the line to do a bunch of cool things. And like the kick out at 1 just show he still had that like old school stinger, like and the finishes, and it was the most, I think it was a perfect send off, an absolute perfect send off to someone who's given so much to this business and paved the way for people like myself. So I thought it was awesome.
You got to give your hats off to Tony Khan. Tony Khan gets a lot of hate, but he did that correctly. You had to have Sting win that match. You couldn't. There's no way you could have done that.
I hear that all the time. He gets a lot of hate. He gets a lot of hate and a lot of heat. But you got to give the guy his credit. I've seen him. I've with my own eyes seen him work before, and that dude's a workhorse. That guy, he puts in the hours. He puts in the time. He listens to his wrestlers. He's really doing some good work and a lot of hard work. So I tip my hat to Tony Khan, most definitely.
I got a question I have to ask. And you said you were a WCW guy, right? You said you watched it.
Yeah.
So who is the greatest WCW champion of all time?
Oh, right. Well, see, my mind automatically goes towards Goldberg. But are you talking like NWA, WCW, NWA, or WCW?
I'm talking David Arquette.
That's it.
Oh my God!
You remember that little?
He was yeah. I was a little teenager at the time. He was an amazing champion, and I will say, okay, once again, coming from a worker standpoint, as much as he should never have won that title at all whatsoever, you can never take it away from him.
Right.
He'll always have that. But no, like the first thing that comes to mind, obviously, is Goldberg for me, just because I gravitated, obviously, gravitated so much towards that character because, I was a cool kid, but like deep down inside, I'm an angry person, and I hold it in really good, but in the ring, I can let it out in kind of a safe way to where everything's cool at the end. But I really gravitated towards Goldberg, especially in my time. Hulk Hogan, of course. DDP was really cool. Benoit was cool because it was finally cool seeing a little guy get it, or at least a guy of like that short stature, but I don't really think it made sense. Seeing Booker T get it was really cool. But if I had to pick a number one, it would most likely have to be Goldberg, just because it was such a dominant run.
Absolutely, 100%.
As long as he wasn't giving people concussions.
Giving people concussions, but then again, if you like, even if you're not going over, like I'm working Goldberg, I'm getting the biggest payday, or at least the second biggest payday of the night, and I'm only working 2.5 minutes.
Well, yeah, true.
That's great.
So since we're on Goldberg, real quick, Rico, then I'll let you go.
Right.
I was searching some people that and I was given this question.
Yeah.
There's an incredible phone call that you had with your childhood hero,
Wow.
Bill Goldberg. and the extraordinary feelings towards the WWE Hall of Famer at this point. Can you share about that? Can you talk a little bit about that?
You really did your homework.
Dug deep.
Yeah, sure. So, where do I begin? Oh my God. Okay, so at the time, it was like 2009, maybe 2010. My father was driving me from California, Malibu, California, where I'm from, to Tampa, Florida, and I was going to live out in Tampa, try and get into FCW, and WWE was there. And on the way there, my dad had to make a business stop, and the business stop was at a gentleman's house by the name of Ray Story. Ray Story is best known for being the full-blown inventor of electronic cigarettes.
Okay.
And at the time, they were very brand new, and my dad knew a lot of people that would invest in something like that. So we stopped off in Atlanta. We stayed at his house for the night, and a lot of people with Ray's story. He was also the stage manager for WCW back in the year 2000. So he knew all the guys, and the night before was telling me all these stories about him and Goldberg and how they're like this, and I'm just marking out completely. And then I wake up the next morning, have some breakfast, everything's cool. And then he passes me the phone, and he's like, "Here, someone wants to talk to you." And I'm oblivious. Jesus, how old was I? I was young. I was in my early 20s. Hello, and you can just hear, that voice. You can just hear it, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, son? This is Bill Goldberg. Here you're trying to be a wrestler," and I absolutely lost it. I'll admit, I wept like a baby. I just thanked him for everything he's ever done for me without even meeting the guy. I just laid it all out there for him, and I'll never forget what he said. He said, and I quote, "Son, I can hear the passion in your voice. I've been out of wrestling for a very long time, but I have a lot of friends that are still there. I hear you're going to FCW. I'm going to make a phone call to my friend Norman Smiley. So when you get there, you have an in." And I was thanking him up and down. This guy is my absolute hero. Everything. Get off the phone, get to Tampa, wake up in the morning, get to FCW. What phone call? Guy never made the phone call. And now that I'm an older man and like I've done it all, I've done as much as I can so far. I could see why he probably wouldn't make the phone call, but I've never told anyone who's ever looked up to me that I would do something for them and not do it. You just don't do that. So I think Goldberg, he can say anything he wants, and don't get me wrong, he's a great money draw and everything like that. But the guy can't work. He never will be able to work. He was just a freak show that happened to be in the right place at the right time. And I hate every ounce in his body. I can care less if he dropped dead tomorrow.
Yeah, keeping it real.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And
No.
the wrestling world will be sad, but then, you're not like you're never gonna go back and watch a classic Goldberg match.
Right.
You may watch a little compilation video of him, but you're never gonna go back and watch a Goldberg match. I would much rather be a guy where you go back and watch their match instead of just a little fugazi type guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh man.
But anywho.
So, well, I was going to ask because you had brought up the Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
And I mean, sounds like you kind of agree where I'm at on that one. Is I really think he should have just left it with that match. 100% should have left it with that match.
100% had family right at front row, and since I've been in this business for quite some time, I've learned it's not just what you do in the ring; it's everything. It's the whole, from the two guys that are killing themselves in there, to where the referee's positioned, to where the cameras are, where you need to be. It's all the way out. It's like a volcano. It just, the wrestlers, and it trickles all the way down to ring crew. Like everything has to be lined up. And that night, the camera shot of the close up of Sean saying, "I'm sorry, I love you."
Yep.
Close up of Rick right before him with tears in his eyes saying, like, "Come on, bring it, bring it." And just every camera angle, every shot, every emotion, everything was right there. It was perfect. Couldn't ask for a better send off. But I didn't see him take his shoes off in the middle of the ring, and I'm just like, this guy's gonna wrestle somewhere. But then again, if he never would have wrestled again, we would have never gotten that great woo off with him and Jay Lethal.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So after you became a fan, you wanted to get into that. So can you talk about your training experiences, the training studio, the camp that you went to, who your trainer was? I heard you had a great trainer, and I'd like to hear some stories about.
I eventually I had a few great trainers, but a couple weird ones in the middle, I'll admit. So, man, 2006, 5, 6. I started. So back then, remember, I'm a total mark, just going anywhere that looks cool. And I found a school out in San Clemente, like around Oceanside, California, called UPW Ultimate Pro Wrestling, and I was drawn to that school because that's like where it's John Cena, Samoa Joe, The Miz, Chris Masters, Mike Knox, like all those guys came out of there at that time. So I went there and I was trained under two Canadian brothers. They go by the Ballard brothers.
Okay.
Unbelievable guys, great trainers, will teach you all the moves, teach you how to protect and give, and they're really good trainers. But I will admit they're not too keen on psychology training, and that's once you learn psychology, that's all wrestling is. Even if you're not an athlete, but you know the psychology of wrestling, you could work around your non-athleticism and still be one of the most over guys ever. But so from UPW, I went to High Spots in Charlotte, North Carolina, and trained with George South, which was an awesome but just random experience. Just learning just strictly old school do-si-do type stuff. And then I ran out of money and then went back home. And then from there went to the Santino Bros Academy with the Ballard brothers were training there, but also was a gentleman by the name of Joey Chaos, who's another great trainer and a great lucha trainer too. So I trained there and then made up enough money to try and get out to Tampa to FCW. Tried getting into FCW. That didn't happen. And I'll even admit I wasn't ready. I thought I was, but I was not ready. So then I just kind of bounced around the Tampa area doing as many little rinky-dink shows as I could. Ran out of money, moved back home. But while I was in Tampa, I went to a TNA taping and I met a gentleman by the name of Angel Armani who trains out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And right when I met him, before I stuck my hand out to shake it, and he called a spot, and we did a spot real quick, like right there where when Universal or wherever they were filming TNA at the time. Austin Aries was their heavyweight champion, so however long ago that was. And we got a few drinks, started talking. He's like, "Look, if you want to learn how to work, you get your butt out to Milwaukee, Wisconsin." We kept in touch, and then at the time, I was living in my car in Southern California, just trying to make ends meet, just trying to survive. And he kept Armani kept hitting me up. So I told him I was in a little situation, as in like I'm homeless and I can't find work out here in California, whatever. He offered his house to me. I lived with him for a little over a year. He trained me for free. Uh, I owe a lot to that man. That man taught me psychology of professional wrestling. He taught me how to truly work a match, how to feel the crowd, how you don't need to do, the goal isn't to fit 10 pounds of, part of my language, the goal isn't to fit 10 pounds of shit in a 2-pound bag. The goal is to fit 2 pounds of shit in a 10-pound bag and make it fit. Like he taught me so much. And then literally he was pretty much my last trainer. When I got here to I was in the Midwest for about 8 years, and then when I got here to Florida, I started off at one school, but didn't really know the history of the school. And once I found out the history of the school, I got out of there real quick. And ever since, just been working and working. So my actual last true trainer was Angel Armani, and I owe a lot to that man, most definitely.
Is that what they were referencing to your famous Hollywood story?
My famous Hollywood family.
Yeah, famous Hollywood showbiz family.
Man, where do I begin? Do you want me to go down the list of what?
It was just brought to my attention that you have an amazing story of a man from a famous Hollywood showbiz family, though you were sleeping in his car to chase a pro wrestling dream. So I don't know, is that rings a bell at all, or?
Wow. Where did you find this stuff out?
Well, I will tell you. I mean, I do a lot of research.
Like, are you CIA ops or something like that?
No, I have friends. Okay, I want to be honest. I hit up guys like Hunter Payne. I hit up guys like James Creed, Mike Creed Classic, your boy Trevin. I put in the work, my guy. I put in the work.
Inspector Gadget over here, man.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay.
I never had a guy speechless. I have never had a guy speechless on the show.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, my story is an intense story. It really is. It would actually be a great story. It's just some of the stuff I keep, hidden a little bit because, how do I explain this? Oh, man, you're good. You're really good.
I respect that. I mean, yeah.
No, seriously, hats off, man. Like you're really good. I'm shocked. Shocked the FBI hasn't picked you up yet or something. No, every single hurdle and hump, every single trial and tribulation in this business, I have been through. From homelessness to my father dying of cancer, and because of that, our whole family becoming homeless. Addiction, you name it. I've been through it. I've done it. And luckily, I've come out on the other side. I have a beautiful wife. I got 2 beautiful little girls. I'm in a beautiful home out here in Florida. I've really turned my life around. But back to your question. So what was it? Homeless with a famous person?
It was amazing story of a man from a famous Hollywood showbiz family sleeping in his car to chase a pro wrestling dream.
Oh, I assume we're talking about me from a showbiz family. So okay, so here we go. So the lineup I can think of. So it dates all the way back to the first person I could think of is an old comedian. He's one of my great uncles, Ed Keenan Wynn.
Okay.
He's like an old school back in the day, old school comedian. It started off with him, and then it went to my dad and my uncles. They were a band called the Hudson Brothers back in the 1970s. They had 2 television shows on the only 2 primetime networks at the time, the Hudson Brothers Comedy Hour and Razzle Dazzle. They got their big start because Sonny and Cher wanted to take a summer off for their show. and they liked the chemistry my dad and uncles gave off, so they gave them those 5 weeks, and that 5 weeks turned into their own television shows. And then from there, my Uncle Bill met Goldie Hawn on an airplane. They got married, had my cousin Oliver Hudson, and then my cousin Katie Hudson. My Uncle Mark, who to this day is still a music producer. He produces Aerosmith, Steven Tyler, Ozzy Osbourne, even some random ones. Like, remember that band Hanson?
Yes, can't stand
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Thank you. He produces them.
I'm sorry.
He even produced like I don't know if you know Robert Downey Jr. put out an
Yeah.
album.
I didn't know that.
He produced that album. He's written a ton of songs. I think, in my opinion, his most famous song. Do you remember that movie Armageddon?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the Aerosmith song in that movie?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, my uncle wrote that.
Are you
Really?
serious? Because that was mine and my wife's wedding song.
Bro,
when she walked down the aisle.
My Uncle Mark wrote that song.
No
That
way.
is crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Dang.
And then his daughter, my cousin Sarah, she's just killing it right now. She's a award-winning songwriter. She co-wrote Dark Horse with Katy Perry,
Really?
which is like the #1 song like ever to be like 19 times diamond, platinum, whatever.
Yeah.
She's written with Justin Bieber, Rita Ora, Iggy Azalea, like you name it, she's written with them. Her husband Sammy is I don't know if anyone watching this or you guys are into like like DJing, but her husband Sammy, who I consider my cousin as well, is his name is LS Dream. He's a pretty big time DJ right now. And then who else do we got? And then when my uncle divorced Goldie, he married my aunt Cindy. God rest her soul. She recently just passed this uh, late last year due to cancer. She was the Nick at Night show, Laverne and Shirley.
Mm-hmm.
She's Shirley.
Really?
Yeah, that's like my aunt, my godmother. She was like a second mother to me. She was the best. Who else? Is there anyone else I'm missing? I could go with my mother. My mother danced in the Royal Ballet. She's from England. She was this is totally in America, no one will know what this is, but if you're from England, you will know what this is. It's called Hot Gossip. It's like a dance group. My mother was the leader of that dance group, and it's like, remember back in the day they would do like those like party channels where it was like you put on a channel and there's like people dancing to music.
Yeah. Soul Train like?
Yeah, very similar, but British.
Okay.
So my mother was the leader of that group. My cousin Jessica. She's a Broadway actress, and she just made her motion picture career with that movie Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The second one.
Yes.
I haven't seen.
Okay. Well, okay. Do you know the lady that like has the hair that goes like this, and she's kind of like the hussy of the group?
Yes. Yes.
My cousin Jessica plays her younger self in the second one.
Nice.
Yeah. Is there anything else I'm missing? I could be missing a couple more people, but everyone in my family is still in show business. My dad is a writer, director, producer. He's behind the camera now. My Uncle Mark is still producing music. They're actually going to go back on the road pretty soon, which is really weird. My cousin Sarah's writing music. Katie is, she's still doing some film here and there, but I guess she just put out like a new single or a song or something like that. I don't know why. I don't know why she's singing right now, but that's what she's doing. And I know Oliver has a couple television shows coming up, so
Wow.
they're all doing really good. They're all doing really good, and we try and keep in touch as much as we can.
That's a big time history.
Oh man.
Wow.
But that's just like the Hollywood side. I can get into like I don't want to talk too much about it, but like I'm a Sicilian, so I have a whole other like
Big bridge.
semi famous family, but not for the best of reasons.
Gotcha. We'll keep her there. Rico.
So, man, yeah. Who? I guess the next question I was going to ask was, who had the biggest impact in your life that just kept you going in this industry? Obviously, you've dealt with a lot of people.
Does it have to be someone in this industry?
Nope.
My father. My dad. My dad had a tough life. He grew up on welfare. It was just a big Sicilian family, but his father was never in his life. I think I only met my grandfather on that side, I think like once or twice ever. So it was my grandmother with 3 boys, and like her brothers and sisters and stuff like that. But my dad they wanted to be musicians, and my dad was the youngest, and at age 11 he was actually he was opening for the Who, so they were doing really good. And then one day they were on the beach in Miami, Florida, and their manager came to them and said, "Pack your bags, it's time to go home." And they found out their manager took all their money, and they went home completely broke.
What?
So they had to do whatever they had to do to get money. They actually started pitching watermelons to make ends meet, and eventually, so they started playing some clubs, playing here and there. And then back in the day when like Battle of the Bands was a big thing, they won Battle of the Bands, and that's what kind of got them their start. And they moved out to New York and were a band called the New Yorkers, and eventually back to the Hudson Brothers. But my dad did all the stuff that I did, which is traveling literally hundreds and hundreds, thousands of miles for a $40 payday and maybe a hot dog and a handshake, and then having to get back, and then running out of gas and being stuck on the side of the road and having no money. And like my dad went through the whole thing, and eventually at the age of 23 became a millionaire. Everything worked out for him, and so he knows how is it professional wrestling, music, it's all show business. It's all show business, and he knows the struggles. And every time I'm having an issue every time I call him, and he knows exactly what to say because he's been there before. And watching him, especially he had stage 4 throat cancer. He should be dead, but long story short, one of my dad's a very dear family friend, Cher, the singer Cher. Her and my dad are like this, and she found out my dad was sick, invited us over to her house, and we met one of her doctors, Dr. Yakov, out of Germany, and she cured my father in 3 months. So Dr. Yakov, thank you for giving my dad back. But even watching him fight through the cancer just to get back to normal again, he's the strongest dude I know. And every time there's anything going on in my life, I call him, and it's all good. He's my biggest supporter. He's my best friend. He's my biggest everything. My dad. I'd have to say my dad.
I can relate to that because my mom passed away in October, and my dad's currently in the hospital right now with breathing issues, and they're the biggest supporters of this podcast. When my mom was in hospice, she said, don't you dare give up that podcast." Yeah, I mean, they'd watch it every night, man. They'd be the first ones on, and I'm like, yeah, I see what you're saying, man. Yeah,
that's awesome. Right.
touch a little bit on your career.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about the AEW dark match that you had?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's more than one?
Yeah, well, one was never aired because, so when you get there, they have like, it's like they have like they have 2 tapings 2 times a day, so it's 4 tapings. You can be in the first half of the day or the second half. If you're in the second half and you're not like an AEW signed talent, good luck. Just good luck. Good luck getting anything in, because that guy you've been wrestling has wrestled already 4 times that day. He doesn't want to be there. The agent doesn't want to be there. It in and out. My first one was a 6-man tag with 2 guys I didn't even know, and 2.0 and Daniel Garcia.
Okay.
And even 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, great guys. They weren't complaining whatsoever, but you can tell that they probably went to the agent and were like, we want to get out of here. And I didn't even get in the ring. I just got bipped off the apron. That was it. My second one was against what's his face? Come on, the Colonel or whatever he goes by.
Oh, I know.
I want to say Sean White, but it's not Sean White. He's the snowboarder.
Sean Dean.
Thank you. See, I don't even remember his name because every time, even after the match, I got messages saying, "Did he thank you for putting him over?" I remember Sean Dean back in Chicago, back in like Illinois. Great guy. He was really cool with working with everything. It was a fun little match, but the whole goal there is just to get over the other guy. You can try your best to get yourself over, but in the end, all they want is their talent to be put over so they look better when they can put them on a different show. But I watched the match back. I'm not impressed. I feel within myself I could have done better. I feel within myself I shouldn't have put him over so much. But you live in you. I'm one of those people where you got to make a mistake to learn. You could be told it a million times, but until you actually screw up and go, oh, like these are the consequences, these are the repercussions, this is what can happen. Like if I can go back and redo it, I would have done it totally redone it differently. But it is what it is. And to be honest with you, AEW isn't really a place I want to be right now. It's very oversaturated. You're lucky enough to get on television. I have a lot of buddies there that show up to Dynamite, and they don't no script, they have no idea even if they're on the show. AEW isn't really a place I would want to be right now.
Gotcha. So because you saying you're still a fan.
Yeah.
And you still watch it.
I watch them. I watch AEW. I'm a fan of many of their wrestlers.
Well, who's your favorite wrestler right now?
My favorite one right now? Me.
Well, besides you.
I'm not joking. Me. No one else. Me. Because I am disgusted and tired of watching these people. Don't get me wrong. There's a handful of people that deserve it. 100%. 100% deserve it. There are so many guys that just sit backstage in catering that have busted their ass on the independents and are such good workers, not just wrestlers, workers. And that they just get a good meal when they should be out there in front of the crowd. It sickens me when I see certain people get opportunities that don't deserve it. It sickens me that you can just go to college and play a sport now. And, I might be a track and field star. You can't really make a whole lot of money in track and field unless you're an Olympic gold medalist. Oh, hey, here's a WWE contract. We'll train you because you're a college athlete. Well, what about the guys that have been busting their ass for years, driving hundreds and thousands of miles for nothing? How about guys that have been getting neck surgery and coming back 14 weeks later when it takes Stone Cold Steve Austin, the toughest SOB, a year? Took me 14 weeks to get back in the damn ring, and I wrestle as if you never even knew I had neck surgery. I'm my favorite wrestler. I'm tired. Like let's take for example the North American champion right now, Oba. Number one, stop talking in that accent. We all know what you sound like. Number two, ask him who trained him before he reported to the PC.
You?
You're welcome. And I told him things that he shouldn't have even known. I told him, man, you got 6 months. If you don't show him anything in 6 months, they're gonna drop you. You're a waste of money. And he listened. He listened very well. But no, yeah, I trained him, the North American champ, before he reported to the PC. I'm my favorite. I'm tired of seeing people like this get opportunities that people like me have literally sacrificed so much. I've sacrificed family. I've sacrificed friends. I've sacrificed vacations, partying. I don't know. I've been homeless 3 times. I've lived in my car twice, lived under a bush once. But you would never know I was homeless because I had a $10 membership to Planet Fitness, and I did whatever I could to get that $10 so I could take a damn shower, get my workout in, and try and make it to the next show just in the hopes that I would be seen. When all these people have to do is throw some damn weighted ball or run a 100-yard dash and they get a damn contract? Are you kidding me? It sickens me. It disgusts me. I'm my favorite wrestler because I'm still putting in the work. I'm the one who's still grinding. Every single day, Monday through Friday, I am at the gym bright and early in the morning. I do my cardio. I eat correctly. I actually look like a professional wrestler. When you look at the independents today, look at the people that look like a pro wrestler. I'm right there. There's a reason why they always put me on the front of every damn poster. Speaking of WXW, there's a reason why on my 4th show, I've already wrestled for 2 titles. There's a reason why. And it's my turn for an opportunity. I've never asked for a WrestleMania moment. I've never asked for I've never even asked for a contract. All I've ever asked for is an opportunity because I'm that damn good. I'm my favorite wrestler.
Damn good answer.
Good answer. And I will, that you answered my question because, I think fans need to understand. I don't have any idea anywhere near what you just said. You said facts, and indie wrestling compared to main stage wrestling, you guys put in your effort, you put into work, and you said it for what? For nothing except for the exposure. And
I'm sorry to cut you off. Like I said, I have a wife and two baby girls at home, and for nothing. And I still have to figure out how to provide for them when I'm watching these pieces of crap that were just college athletes that aren't going to make it to the next step because they're not that good. Their dream was to play football. Their dream was to run. But you're not good enough to make it to the next level. So you take the easy way out when someone hands you a silver spoon. When we're the ones who are grinding day in and day out. You could ask my wife. We get in fights over it because for hours every day I am watching wrestling. I am studying wrestling. I dream about it. I think about it. Everything I do is because of wrestling. I don't eat like a gerbil because I want to. I don't go to the gym and kill myself because I want to. I do it because I have to, because I was told a very long time ago, if that call came today, you better be ready tomorrow.
So fans, tell me when he's telling lies, because he's not. He's shooting straight facts. And
I mean,
I don't know. You could end a podcast right now, and if you heard what he just said, guys, on this podcast, it might wake some people up in this business.
No, it's not like it used to be, to where you had to bust your ass and try to prove your worth. Nowadays, it's more just like you were saying. You're a name in a college. Here you go.
Oh yeah, he played a professional sport. Okay, so what was that sport? Oh, it was baseball. Okay, well that's with a ball and a stick. I played Me personally, I played ball for 17 years. I had 6 Division I scholarships leading out of high school. I could have gone to Florida State, University of Florida, University of Michigan, it was Texas University. Um, a small school out in Iowa, and I want to say and UCLA. But on the other side of the table, I had a little thing that said UPW, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a pro wrestler. I love baseball, but I want to be a pro wrestler. If I could take it back, I would have signed, done my couple of years, gone to the pros, done the 3-year minimum, broken my arm, been done, and then started training for being a pro wrestler. And story can be different, but since I was 9 years old, this is all I've ever wanted, and I haven't stopped, and nothing has stopped me. My neck surgery hasn't stopped me. Nothing stopped me. That's why I'm also my favorite wrestler. It's because nothing has stopped me. I've been told you're too short, you're not big enough. Well, you know what? Now I'm 232 pounds, and when I'm backstage at WWE, they won't use me sometimes because I look bigger than their guys. Where's my opportunity?
That's a shame.
So you probably don't acknowledge the tribal chief then, huh?
Oh, I totally acknowledge the fact. No, I totally like. I fell in. I'll admit, I hated Roman. Or I'm not gonna call him a shoot name. I hated him, and I hated him because they were just shoving him down our throats.
Yep.
And I hated him because I did not like the Undertaker match at Mania. Like you could see even at the end, Undertaker was like, "What are you doing, man? Just spear me." But the very next night, it was 8 minutes and 4 seconds. He said 5 words. He had an 8-minute and 4-second promo to start the show. And the Raw after Mania, the crowd is just nuts. They wouldn't let him get a word out. It's one of the best promos in the world, and all he got out right at the end was, "This is my yard now."
Yep.
And like that right there, I was like, okay, he's on to something. And if you look at that promo to what he is today, he plays that mob boss character really well.
Yep.
He's really in my opinion, I don't know him personally, but he's really fat. He's really honed in on who he is and how he presents himself, and he's just killing it. I love that. Even my wife will put up the one when we're watching wrestling. Like, he's everything he does is just gold right now, and you got to give the guys credit.
And that's why Cody Rhodes will not finish the story.
Ooh, see, it's 50-50 for me, man. If he finishes the story, I hope he brings back the old
winged belt.
Yeah, the winged belt. Yeah, yep, exactly. I hope he brings that back. But on the other hand, if he doesn't finish the story, it just makes it more of a drama for us fans. It can go either way. But I don't know.
This is where me and Huge Pop differ. Is we disagree. I think Cody's gonna finish the story.
I think he is too. I don't think he should have done it last year because
it made sense.
Yeah, make him work a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
But he is so over. He is their number one baby. He is so over right now. You kind of almost have to.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then what? Start over.
Sadly.
You kind of have to. They've been building this for 2 years now. You kind of have to.
So, quick question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I was just going to say the best way to do it is start, if you can get a little friction between Rock and Roman, and have the bloodline do their whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is just me if I got a writing position, um, and have the Rock screw Roman, and that sets up your Rock versus Roman for next year's WrestleMania.
Well, man, you said it, because I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, Rock's too over to be a heel.
But what I was going to ask you guys is, because Paul Heyman, Hall of Fame, who do you think should induct him? Because that's a list right there.
Tommy Dreamer.
See, my first thought went to Tommy Dreamer.
Because the way he has passion for Paul, man. When he talks about him, he chokes up. He loves him.
And you can tell they definitely worked side by side a lot in ECW. Like you can even when you watch, you remember that the old documentary Beyond the Mat.
Mm-hmm.
You even when they showed Paulie doing his thing in his mom's basement, like you can see Tommy's right there next to him everywhere he is. You can kind of tell that they work side by side really closely together. If it had to be a worker, I would say Tommy Dreamer. But I know a few guys behind the scenes that Paul Heyman has had such an impact on that I can see. He calls him. I won't say his name, but he does work over there. He calls him his protege, and this man calls him his mentor. When they working over, he was one of the founders of Ring of Honor, and he had a lot to do with Evolve and that whole ordeal over there. I don't know. They're wrestlers. It would have to be Tommy Dreamer. It would have to be. If it's a wrestler, it has to be Tommy Dreamer.
I have so much I could ask you.
Go
Matt
ahead.
Classic Creed. He said something about, can you explain the Swolminator? Where'd that arrive from? How'd that become part of your...
Matt Creed or James Creed?
Well, both of them mentioned that. So
wow, I'm shocked. Okay, so there was a point in time where so I had the Mr. 3% gimmick, and I did that for quite some time. It actually got really over in the Midwest, and I was Mr. 3% because at the time I actually had 3% body fat, which is just, if you're low body fat in this business, eat a cheeseburger. You're always in pain. Everything hurts. It's horrible. So once I started to put on a little extra size, I was like, all right, I got to come up with a different character. And I came up with a character called the Doctor of Gains-onomics. So everything was just about chicks and gains. It was just total like bro lifting type stuff, which also really got over. And I would call myself the Swolminator. And I eventually found out that I think Brian Cage calls himself the same thing. So I kind of stopped calling myself that because he is a little higher up on the totem pole than I am. But yeah, then I started doing the Swolminator. Oh man, how many the gimmicks I've had. The grandson of Zeus, the nephew to Hercules, the mother of Gaines babies, the creator of Gaines babies. I mean, hell, just here in Florida, I've had, what did I have? The Alpha Daddy, the Greedy Bastard, which I kind of liked, but now now I'm the headliner.
Headliner, yeah.
The headliner.
Do you get that long ring announcer like in Rocky IV when they're announcing?
I used to get that like I used to. So what I would do, so I was a heel. So what I would do is I would write on a note like what I want them to say. So when they would announce me, I would tell them to read the note, and it literally was just like a scroll of just it was my Doctor of Gains-onomics gimmick when they would announce like he is the grandson of Zeus, the nephew to Hercules, the cousin of Thor. I just kept naming all these Greek mythology, like just badasses, all the way down for about like 2.5 minutes. And then they finally said my name. And yeah, no, but that was 86 real quick. They were like, man, you're not the Undertaker. You can't go that long.
All right. WXW Alpha, Samoan just closed the doors. You worked with that in that promotion. Can you share your feelings about what that was like to hear the news and all that good stuff?
Broke my heart. I was there at that show when he announced it. I was in the main event with Vertigo for the heavyweight championship. I think I'm on the last show. The card hasn't been put out yet. I'm not too sure, but it was a punch in the chest, man. It was out of nowhere. And to be honest with you, I met Pops. I think it was September of 2023. So like I haven't known him personally for an extremely long time, but that man's had an impact on my life since I was 9 years old. And one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me ever was after the very first show I did for him, and my buddy Sean Scott, I love you, thank you for helping me out with the plug. My buddy Sean got me into WXW, and I guess Alpha also did his homework and liked what he saw. And after the show, he somehow got my phone number and texted me. I love your stuff. Like, how would you like to be part of the family, son? And I was ecstatic, and I was like, I would absolutely love to, sir. And he's like, well, don't call me sir, call me Pops. I love you, son. And when he said that, like that was like a monumental moment in my career, just for who that man is and what he's done for this business. And we had really big plans in 2024, really big plans in 2024, and with his health and everything, that it came out of left field. It totally just the whole demeanor backstage just went from here all the way down. I text him at least every other day just to tell him I love him and I hope he's doing good and everything. All I can do is pray and hope that he gets through this, and one day the doors of WXW get reopened, because that's a place for a lot of people where that's all they work. That they only work at WXW. So once that closes, they don't have a place to work, and it breaks my heart. But in all honesty, when it comes, wrestling's always going to be there, no matter what. There's always promotions everywhere. Wrestling's always going to be there. But family come and go, and health also comes and goes. And what's more important right now is Pops' health, and just this saddens me to say, but just keeping him on this earth as long as we can, because that man's the last of a dying breed, and I love him so much. It broke my heart.
Man, I can say that Huge Pop Wrestling podcast. I've been talking to Julio Vertigo Rivera.
Yeah.
And he has given me permission, and we're talking, and we are going to be showcasing WXW throughout the month going forward, with playing some reaction videos, etc.
Awesome.
So we're going to continue the dream of the WXW talent and get them on the show, and so they can share their stories. So I'm super stoked about that. And Pops might come on for 2 or 3 minutes, Julio said, to say hi, and I'm like excited about that. So
awesome.
I want to just thank them. Like you said, he's been a big man in this business for a long time, and it'll be a blessing to cover WXW going forward.
Try not to geek out.
I really appreciate that. That man deserves all the exposure. He deserves all the praise. everything he's done for this business and done for other people in this business, it's what he does behind the scenes that really make him who he is. And he's a gem. I love him to death. And Pops, if you're listening or watching, I love you.
Absolutely. Rico.
Last question, because I know we just hit the hour mark, but because you mentioned you didn't really care for AEW right now, but if you're given a chance, would it be WWE or Impact? If you're given a chance for one of them,
WWE, no doubt in my mind. Impact is TNA actually.
TNA. Sorry, say that correctly, people.
TNA is great, and they got great talent over there. I've worked some of the talent over there, so like it would be awesome to work there. And also, I do understand that where they're located, I would be home more often, which I know my wife would love. But I've had one goal since I was 9 years old, and that is to be a WWE superstar. I've had every hurdle, trial, tribulation put in my way, from neck surgery to addiction, and I've beaten it all. I have an amazing story. I really feel not only on the wrestling side, but outside the ring, I could touch a lot of people and, show them that, you don't have to be perfect to get the job done. You can, if you really want it, you can get it done. And especially with the guys they have at WWE right now, no offense, those are the guys I need to be working. I love all my coworkers. I have so much respect for all of them. My goal at the end of the night is to make sure they can go home and be with their families and not in pain and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, WWE, that's where I need to be. That is where I need to be, and that's where I know I can flourish because I'm something they don't have. Everyone there is flashy and playing a gimmick, and everyone talks about Seth Rollins, but I could always just watch Joaquin Phoenix's Joker and I get the same character. Everyone talks about how great LA Knight is, but I could just watch an old Stone Cold Steve Austin and Rock match or an old Stone Cold and Rock promo and get the same thing. I'm a throwback. I'm something that you haven't seen in a long time. You know what? A good friend of mine, Trevin Adams, said it best. I won't say the person's name he said because I'm not trying to blast anyone, but I'll say my name. He said, "This person's a good wrestler, but you actually look like you can beat the shit out of someone." And that's something the WWE needs. Is someone who looks like they could, the whole UFC WWE merger. It would be great to have someone who has an MMA background, an actual worker in the wrestling ring, and someone who I love pain. I got missing teeth. I got scar. I love pain, and I love giving pain. I love this business. This is everything I've ever wanted. WWE 100%. And I know if I'm given the opportunity, it's just going to be like every other promotion that I step my foot into. I'm a champion in less than a year. That's how it was at WWN. That's how it is everywhere. So
that's why I like when you mentioned how they brought in Ronda Rousey when they first brought her in.
Big mistake.
You got somebody who's not afraid to get hurt or hurt someone.
She was brought in as a stunt. Look, come on, let's be honest. She was
brought in. She was.
And don't get me wrong. If Ronda and I got in the octagon, hopefully I can get an arm around her and out-muscle her, but she would probably whip my ass, and I'm man enough to admit that. She would kill me. But in a wrestling ring, you can only do so many judo throws and make them look cool. You got to start learning how to work. And when the finish to the match is a T-bone little roll-up, put your damn shoulders on the ground.
Yeah, sure.
Like, learn how to work. Especially if you're wrestling for the #1 company in the world, you need to know how to work that camera right there, but also realize when that red light's not on, that red light's on. Okay, I'm going to start working over here. You have to be aware of your surroundings and know everything. And, some people who aren't aware of their surroundings are in there. But
I have a Mayhem Media has a question, but I want to talk. I'll get to you, Mayhem Media. Thank you for coming on the show. I want to get to WWN to close the show, but because all respect to Trevin Adams, Jonathon Hudson coming on from he's a multimedia champion at WWN. But I want to touch on briefly before we get into the WWN stuff. Chicagoland Championship Wrestling.
Wow,
that
dude,
is
you are an agent, aren't you?
Nope.
Just blowing your mind today, Amy.
You're like Mossad, homie. You're MI6. You're 007 over here. Wow, Chicagoland. What about it?
I heard so there was a AEW inspiring promo for the Chicago connection that caught everybody's eyes.
Yeah.
Can you shoot that promo real quick?
Sure, why not? So all they wanted me to do was come out and cut a promo, which I didn't like at the time. I really wanted to wrestle, but they gave me full range. They were like, you have like 2 or 3 minutes. Just get this over and get this over. Fill in the rest of the blanks. And it was right after COVID. It was right after being shut down for so long and stuck inside. And I was just saying, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, I really am an angry person. If you just give me an opportunity to show it, you'll hate me. And I was like, okay, like what the hell am I going to say? And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let it all out. I'm going to let it all out. And when they announced my name, there was like a half reaction. There was, people who knew me were cheering. And then there was another half that didn't really know who I was because I've never worked in this area of the Midwest before. And I had to get them. I had to get them going. And I just straight up laid out, this is who I am. This is what I'm here to do. And what pisses me off about you people. And I mentioned, let me ask you people a question. What did you do when quarantine hit? And there was some boos and not a whole lot. And I was like, I'll tell you what you did. You did a whole lot of nothing. You took it as an opportunity to sit on your fat asses and do absolutely nothing. When I took it as an opportunity, and man, I was shredded. I was big. I was ready to, like I said, if they get the call today, you better be ready tomorrow. And I was like that even during COVID. And I just laid it all out there, pretty much just bashing the people for using COVID as an excuse for everything. And that promo got me a shot with Pure Pro Wrestling Michigan, or Pure Pro Wrestling out in Michigan, which was really cool. But yeah, man, I haven't thought about that promo in I don't know, how long's it been?
I don't have that.
3 years, 4 years, something like that.
Yeah.
No, they just said go out there and air your grievances. Pull a CM Punk real quick, and I let everyone have it. And I called the wrestlers and I said, I'm not like everyone in the back who plays Halloween on Saturdays. I got a lot of heat for that promo actually because no one knew what I was gonna say, but I really didn't give a shit at the time.
Right.
And I still don't give a shit because all those guys I was talking about are still there.
There you go.
And don't get me wrong, the Midwest pays great money. I was making a great living out there. But WWE is where I wanted to be and where I need to be. And I told the wife, if I'm going to make it, we got to go to where the companies are. And I dropped everything out there to move out here and start my name up out here, which I did in less than a year. I've been here for 3 years. I've held 3 championships so far. I've had work with WWE. Where is my opportunity?
True.
What do I literally grew up on the other side of the country, and now I'm living here, still trying to make my dream come true 17 years later. Where's my opportunity? Do I need to go back to college and go, start playing a sport that I get really good at that has no back end, and maybe I'll get a little NIL contract. So it's ridiculous. It's pissing me off, but
yeah. WWN Multimedia Champion. WWN has a channel. You can be $9.99 a month, 1,000 hours of wrestling. It's a subscription channel, WWNlive.com. I personally have that now because I want to be in tune with what's going on there. WWN, that would be Francisco Chiazzo. That would be Rich Portariella.
My dog.
Richie Rich.
Those guys, you got. Let's talk about WWN as a promotion real quick, and then per your promo you cut for the put out there that you're going to be on this podcast, you mentioned several things that you want to get some things off your chest. You're going to be facing. You don't know who you're facing on the 31st.
No.
So let's talk about the WWN as a whole, and then let's talk about March 31st and moving forward.
No problem. WWN as a whole is amazing. They have given me all I've ever wanted was an opportunity. So all I ever want is just an opportunity, because I know I'll hit it out of the park every time, and I did that over at WWN, and my titles have proven that fact. There's a reason why I will go down in history as being the first ever WWN Proving Ground Heavyweight Champion. You can't take that away from me. And there's a reason why I'm the first. There's a reason why I'm the WWN Multimedia Champion. It's not just because of my family. It's because of my body of work in and out of the ring. Have I said a couple swear words on this little podcast here? Of course I have. But I can cut a promo and get over without saying a swear word. And there's just, the one thing I really want to get off my chest is there's something I want. There's something I want really bad. And don't get me wrong, I love this WWN Multimedia Championship. I absolutely love it. There's nothing greater in this business than holding a title, especially for a promotion like WWN. WWN they're a staple here, not only in Florida, but across the whole independent circuit. When you work for WWN, you're somebody in the independent circuit. At the bare minimum, you're somebody because of what WWN is. You mentioned that you had Auguste Autois on this podcast last time earlier. Love the guy. Much respect for him. I don't think he's a good representative for this company. Every word out of his mouth. Well, you know what? I have two little girls that they're actually in bed right now because one of them has school tomorrow and the other one's going to be coming to the gym with me tomorrow. And if they're at a show and they watch August wrestle, and he's a great wrestler, always puts on a show, and he wins, and he's holding what we have now, which is the most prestigious championship in WWN, which is the FIP World Heavyweight Championship. But I want it all. I want the WWN Championship back, and I want it around my waist. When my little girls are watching and he says on the microphone, "Suck my dick from the back with your nose in my asshole," you think my kids are coming back to you think any kid is coming back to a show?
Nope.
You just lost half. And then when you say, "God damn," I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your belief is, but you just lost half your audience right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think he's a good representative for this company. He needs to be taken out. He needs to actually wrestle someone that looks like, not someone who just hits hard and could do cool things, but someone who actually looks and is a professional wrestler. And that's me. Because I think him and I can have a banger. I think him and I can have a 5-star match. But I know at the end of the match, he's going to be in pain. Because he's never wrestled anyone like me. I want it all. I want the #1 title in WWN, which is the FIP World Heavyweight Championship. That's what I want. Because I am a good representative for the company. I have a wife. I have 2 little girls. I don't need to swear. I'm in a promo to get over. I have the family. I have the Hollywood family background. I am the perfect representative for any company, and that's what I want, is the FIP World Heavyweight Championship. August, just because I respect you doesn't mean I have to like you.
So is that in the future? Is there an opening, or is he going to run scared from you? Are you going to pursue that? You're going to get a hold of?
Well, I know right now he's working his deal with Brock, with Brock right now, which is a man who I've beaten before in the past, twice actually, and which is a man who's also beaten me. But the only difference between me, who he's beaten, and everybody else is that he needs to hit his clothesline twice on me. The footage is on YouTube. You can go back and watch it. He needs to hit his finish twice on me when he only has to hit it once on everyone else. But it was at before August won the title, it was his time. It was his time. And I respect everything he's done with that championship. I respect the fact he's brought it to the UK. I respect the fact he's bringing it around the country. I respect the fact that he's bringing exposure to FIP, to WWN FIP. I respect that. But you need a good representative to do it. And I don't think he's a good one.
So Huge Pop is a pot stir. Huge Pop, Trevin Adams, if you're watching this, I know you're overseas right now. If you're watching this, you heard what the multimedia champion said, the WWN multimedia champion said, Jonathon Hudson. He wants that shot at Artois. Auguste Artois, are you man enough? You talk like you're man enough, but are you man enough to step in the ring, give Jonathon Hudson a shot at your WWN FIP championship?
Oh, he's man enough.
I hope he answers that call, man. I hope
he's definitely man enough, and he'll cut a promo where every 2 words is a swear word, and how he's so cool and so this and so that with his jailhouse tattoos and his little Mickey Mouse tattoos. But then when he actually gets in the ring with me, then he's going to realize he made a big mistake. Yeah. Because as you can tell, I can take a punishment.
Yep. So March 31st, man.
Yeah. What's up?
You have a match. You don't know who against.
Everything Burns 2024, March 31st at the OCC Roadhouse, 4 p.m. Eastern. I have no idea who it's against. I really don't care. I really don't care. Because everyone today, like like how I mentioned earlier, I'm a throwback. Black boots, black trunks. That's all I got. Everyone, I already know I'm probably going to wrestle someone with some shiny, glittery, 170 pounds soaking wet, schmuck who thinks he knows that he's cool and can, do a springboard. Whoop-de-frickin' do.
Mm-hmm.
Do all your fun stuff. I really don't care. When you get in the ring with me, there's a reason why when people see their name next to mine when we're on a little promo card, they're happy. Because they know they're getting a good damn match because of me. There's a reason why WWN, when I lost the heavyweight championship over at Proving Ground, there's a reason why WWN put me with all the rookies. Because I'm the only one that can get myself over and put them over at the same time. Not a lot of people can do that.
Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast fans, you've heard it from the voice of the WWN. Yes. I'm going to get it wrong. Multimedia. See, I've done great all podcasts. You intimidated me, man. The WWN Multimedia Champion. You heard it from the voice of him. He called out Auguste Artois. He wants that title. He doesn't care who he faces on March 31st. He's going to do his best. He's going to kick their butts. And we've heard it from his stories all the way from his Southland Championship Wrestling all the way to Chicagoland, to his Hollywood story, his family story. It's been a blessing, sir, to have you on the podcast.
Thank you very much.
I want you to, if you could close it and tell people where they can find you in your way, and then I'll play some music. And don't go anywhere. I'd like to talk to you after this is over.
No problem, sir. No problem. Well, let me start off by saying I'm a grown man with a life, so I'm not glued to social media. So you can check me out on Facebook, Jonathon Hudson. You'll find me with the WWN Multimedia Championship on there. You can check me out on Facebook, Instagram, if I remember it correctly, Jonathan.Hudson87. And that's it. I don't have a Snapchat. I have a Twitter, but I only follow my cousin Oliver. I don't follow anyone else. I think social media is stupid. I hate it. I know it's a good way to promote yourself, but in my opinion, if you can get over without social media, then you can get over anywhere. And I get over without social media. So
yeah. So do you got that title next to you?
Yes, I do. Right here.
We show it off.
There you go, guys. Multimedia champ right there. It could be a little prettier, but you know what? I like it. It has that little right at the top here, which I love. It has this little lip, and it reminds me of the old school, Dusty Rhodes WCW title. I love.
Well, if you're man enough to come up to Fort Walton Beach, Florida, to the children's home, their belt back there is the Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast belt. If you come up and take it from me, maybe I'll shake your hand. No, Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast, man. It was fun. I loved having Jonathon Hudson on the show. Thank you, Trevin Adams of WWN. Can't wait to hear about Friday or March 31st. I'm going to have you back on the podcast for round 2 because there's so much more to talk about.
Oh, dude, if you let me tell my whole story, it is the most, I don't know how far I can push the swear words on this, but it is the most fucked up, beautiful story you'll ever hear.
Absolutely. I'm game for that. So maybe like April, we'll get you back on the show.
I would absolutely love that, man. You guys just let me know and I'll be
awesome, man. And Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast, Rico, Jonathon Hudson. Thank you guys for coming aboard. Don't go nowhere, guys.
All my dogs, make some noise up in this house. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know what's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the grind. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your head is knocked out. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know what's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the grind. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your head is knocked out. Fight with Adrian Whisper is like a fight with the devil, because when he's dealing with you, you cannot get on this level. Fight with Adrian Whisper is like a fight with a king. It's like a fight with an army, they got the tanks and everything. He's leaving bruises and stitches, possibly leaving you crippled, cause when he sets up the table and sends you straight through the middle. 6 sadistic free, beat that ass with a light bulb. Leave a piece of glass embedded in the back of your skull. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know what's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the ground. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your ass is knocked out. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know what's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the ground. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your ass is knocked out.